In this video, I want to talk about backup options for WordPress. It's going to be very important ongoing for your client to be constantly backing up their WordPress installation. What do they need to do? What are their options? Well, first of all, you need to really make it clear to them that there are two components to this. There's the actual database for WordPress, and it contains, your categories, your structure, and your text content. Then there are your WordPress files on your server. That's the core files for WordPress, then all the plugins, your themes, and the content of images and things like that, uploads, PDFs, all of the things that you upload, that's not stored in the database, that's in your WP content folder. So that's the second component they have to be aware of, the database and then the files. And then there's the question of, do you save all the files or do you only save the WP content folder? It's specific to you. Everything else is generic for WordPress. So you could theoretically just back up the WP content folder. I prefer to back up everything because it means it's a complete snapshot. You've got all your WordPress files, all your WordPress content files. They're all saved together, so it's really easy to restore your site. You just upload the whole lot of them, plus install your database again, and you're ready to go. Anyway, that's very important. There's these two elements, and the reason for that is that the plugins that are available vary, and there's tons of plugins that will back up your database. Okay, so you want to be aware that these plugins are only doing one part of your backup. Now, as I say, there are many database backup plugins, but really there are only two that are the key ones that most people are using. The first is WPDB Backup. This is the name as it appears in the actual plugin directory at WordPress, WPDB Backup. One of the things I like about it is it's very simple. It's just one button on your menu here, and it's one screen, and it just sort of explains to you what tables are going to be backed up. If you've got extra tables from plugins, they're over here. They'll show up on the right-hand side, and you just check off the ones you want. Then it's got the options. I can't show you everything here because there's sensitive information, but the backup options allow you to save it to the server, which isn't a great idea because, of course, you're trying to protect server problems by having a backup offline. Then you can save it to your machine, which is good, or you can email it to yourself. And a lot of people will email it to their Gmail account and store their backups there, for example, for extra safety. And then finally you can schedule your backups, and this is very important for your clients because, of course, they'll forget. They'll forget to do the backups. But if it's automated, then it happens every week or whatever they set it to, it gets emailed to them, and that can be very valuable. So that's WPDB Backup. There's another very popular one called WPDB Manager. And the biggest difference with it is it's just much more comprehensive. Here's the menu for it. I mean, you can manage your backups, you can optimize your database, repair it, drop tables, run queries. I mean, it's like a miniature PHPMyAdmin, which is great, except it's a whole lot of power that your clients are never going to use themselves, likely anyway. And if they did get into it, they could really do some damage. So I tend to not use this one, but if you've got a savvy client, for example, this could be useful. Again, it allows scheduling, it allows all of this sort of thing. This also allows you to restore backups, which the other one didn't specifically. So there are reasons to choose WPDB Manager, certainly. But again, these are all for database backup. It's very important if you install that plugin, one of those plugins, to tell your client you're only backing up your database. If you want files, there is a plugin, I haven't worked with it that much, but I've heard good things about it, called WordPress Backup. And it does the files, like your WP content folder and so forth. Now, ultimately, what would be nice is a comprehensive solution that does both database and files and makes it very easy. Now, fortunately, a lot of hosting companies offer that kind of service, either manually, where you go in with a one-click and actually save them. Sometimes you have to do 2 clicks, database and files separately. That's okay. It's still pretty easy through your hosting panel. Or they may have automated backups that you can download yourself, because that's very important. The host may do, and most do, a backup of some sort. It may not be all as regular as you want, but they do these backups. The question is, do you have access to those files? That's great that they're on the server and they'll restore them for you, but what if you actually need to move to another host? Can you get those files? So check with the hosting company and see what's going on there. There is another option now being offered by WordPress itself, the people who make WordPress, Automatic, and this is called VaultPress. Now, as I'm doing this course, this is still in beta, but it sounds like a really, really interesting solution. It is a paid solution, keep in mind. They're looking at around $20 a month, roughly, for a basic service, but it's a very powerful service. Every time you make a change in WordPress, it backs it up, literally. If you're doing anything off WordPress, like uploading your own files through FTP, it does check your server once a day and back up all the files, any changes there. So you're very, very secure that way. And it loads it in multiple places. It uses the cloud to store it in multiple places. So again, you're protected in many, many ways. They're also looking eventually at other services like disaster recovery. I mean, literally migrating you from one server to the next at the touch of a button. They'll be looking at fixing plugins for you. I mean, it could be quite a powerful system. Again, it's in beta as of the writing of this course, but it's well worth looking at. Especially for business clients, this could be very, very valuable. And of course, there are some backup services that will do things for you, not WordPress specific, but will back up your site, any site. Make sure they're backing up the database at the same time, though. And there is one called a plugin called WP Time Machine. Again, I've not worked with it, but I've heard some good things about it. It does your database plus your files, and then allows you to send it to something like Amazon S3, storage services that you're using, or to yourself. But it may be a way of getting that comprehensive storage all in one with a plugin.